Wait, where are you from? Where's your background? You said Denver, right?
Yeah. I was born in New Jersey. My family moved out to Denver, Colorado area when I was 10 years old. Lived there basically up till 3 years ago. Moved
Great
out to
upbringing. What a cool city to just grow up. Were you like downtown or like outskirts or like what's the?
Austin. About 30 minutes south of Denver.
Okay.
We lived in Denver proper, my husband and I, like before we moved down to Austin, but it was great. And Denver is a great city, but we just really wanted something new and to get out of
A little step up. Yeah.
cold weather.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I always like to say that like Denver, Miami, San Diego, Austin, and Nashville probably are all kind of like the same type of city, give or take. Like not too big, but very tech forward and like good weather, give or take. And but I do think Austin is above Denver in the weather, of course. So,
I think so personally, but I'm okay with 115 degrees in the summer.
I can't do summers here though. It's my one caveat. I leave every summer.
How long are you gone for?
Well,
The whole summer?
I'm gonna be back. Well, typically, I'll leave. Well, I hate paying for rent when I'm not here. So,
sure.
which is why I put my stuff in storage last summer, then went to Europe because I was like, I'm not paying for rent. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave. But I usually do like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I can't do it. I literally can't do it. But,
We're actually trying to plan something for next summer, but it's the same thing. It's like we don't want to spend rent and then go somewhere else and get an Airbnb or something.
You're paying double rent. If not, you're paying more than double. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Nice.
I feel like we could do an hour on just like where you grew up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then you moved to Austin. How long have you been in like the fitness world?
Yeah, I've been a trainer for 12 years.
Okay.
So longer than any job I've kept in my life, that's for sure. I'm 35, so I started when I was 23, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And then were you just like super into fitness and you wanted to be, so people were like, oh, you're doing great, you should be a trainer? Or like what was the kind of kickoff, I guess?
Yeah, I ran track in high school and college. So I've been an athlete all my life. I
Where'd you go to college at?
Drake University in Des Moines.
I've heard of that, but I did. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I went there for a couple years, didn't end up working out. Part of the story of how I got into being a trainer is that I didn't get kicked off the team, but it was like a slight nudge of if you don't lose weight, we're going to take away a big part of your scholarship.
What was your event?
I was a sprinter, so 100, 200, 400.
So I'm sure to lose weight meant like a pound or something like that.
No, actually, not at all.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I gained the freshman 15.
As a sprinter?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was like, so I grew up in a very like strict household. I have 3 brothers. And as soon as I got some freedom to like leave the nest, I was like, let's party.
Yeah.
So I drank a lot, I binge ate, and I just felt really shitty about myself, to be honest with you. And I wasn't performing even the first year. And then my coach sent a nutritionist and like we tried so many things. But, and really like when I say overweight, I mean, I weigh basically a little bit less now than I did when I was told to like lose weight.
Gotcha. Okay. You also have muscle on you, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but the whole point of it was she sent me this email, but accidentally sent it to the entire team.
Oh no, she didn't.
So it was it was like really bad. And I was 20 years old and I was already feeling like shit. So I actually left Drake. I finished at University of Colorado.
Gotcha. Okay.
With a marketing degree. And then, I was like, I don't know if you did sports in high school and college, but like once you are done from that, you like have this loss of identity. And then I'm overweight, and then I'm binge eating, and then like it's just like the vicious cycle.
Well, you don't have the insane caloric deficit from like running and playing basketball, whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're like, how do I replace the? You can't. My issue is, I think this big issue with guys too is that like we're always used to like hooping or whatever, and then we quit playing basketball, and then we just go to the gym and do bodybuilding, like 3x12, no cardio. Maybe like a 10-minute treadmill. And then it's like, how could you not gain weight doing that? Like there's no like element of like cardio. So yeah.
And I tried to run because I was like, oh, I'm a sprinter. Yeah. And I actually ran 3 marathons. I hated every single one of them. I will never do that again. Yeah. But one of my friends actually was like, you should try out this boot camp at the park. And I said no for a long time. And then I finally went. And I swear that was the day that I was like, fitness is life.
Yeah, especially if it's fun like that.
Yeah, it was so fun. I just got to be competitive again. And so I ended up going to that gym for 6 months. And then they asked me to be a trainer there. And so I got group certified first and then kind of got into personal training.
What were I like to ask every coach that, like, what's your certification wall if you had one? Like what's all the...
Oh my God, so many at this point. NASA system is like the
core.
basic one
Yeah.
you have to have or whatever.
Yeah.
On it's great because I got kettlebell certified and mobility certified through them. I'm also a yoga teacher.
Nice.
I'm certified in hypertrophy, menopause, and Olympic weightlifting.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Hey, there should be, I mean, we have a feature that's pretty basic that like you just have your certifications on there, but there should be like some sort of cert database website where you just have like a library of your certs.
Yeah.
Kind of just hosted there.
Yeah. Especially when you're doing so many for so long. I'm like, what else am I certified?
Which is I usually interview. Again, it's been a while since I've done this, but they usually have like no idea what certs they have. They're like, I don't know, like 15. I don't know. It's like, hey,
Oh yeah, there's another couple in there too. That's the other thing is I'm a lifelong learner, and especially like when you're a mover and when you're around people like get on it, you just want to learn what they know, and so you can be a better coach.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so you become a trainer, you start building up your, like, at what point would you say, like, because obviously, like, we'd call you, like, an influencer now, you know, like, whatever that term is in any context. Sure. At what point did you start to, like, kind of grow a following, and then what kind of got that following to be built, I guess?
Yeah, I've been on Instagram for 10 years at this point.
OGs.
Like one of the OGs, maybe even longer than that, actually. And originally I just started it because I needed to hold myself accountable to run.
Yeah.
And again, hated running, long distance running.
Yeah.
And then I started to, teach people in like a funny, silly way. So like how I like originally first like grew in 2017 was like showing how to do an RDL or how to do a squat, and like the yes versus no kind of, the no would always be like so ridiculous. So that's really like how it grew. And then I was like, oh, people like want to learn, but they also like want to know who I am and my personality and stuff. And so that's kind of how that started.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And so you kind of just like kept making content, or was there like one thing that kind of just, oh, this video did 50 million views and it blew me up kind of thing?
No, I've been a long-term consistent client. Poster. I mean, I literally post every day.
Okay, very cool.
Every single day.
That's
for
been
the
my
past 10 years.
It's just so daunting to post every day, so I don't know how you do it. Like, props to you.
I enjoy it, to be honest with you, but I also have an account for Broads, my app, and my podcast, and my dog, and I have like probably 8 accounts right now, and like the one I really enjoy the most is my own, because it's like I'm able to do anything that I want to do.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So the branded part.
With that being said, I post on my personal like 15 times a day. Like if people already say what I just said, they'd be like, you literally post every 4 minutes. Like, so, but I mean, more of like the business side of it. It's like, what do I post? Like I don't want to just especially running a corporate account like we have, which sounds weird to say, but it's like, I don't want to post another like graphic, and then I do a terrible job of actually making video content, even though I have a freaking podcast studio. So, I mean, so when you're making your content, like, are you, this is actually what I want to get to anyways, is like, do you have like a content schedule, or is like you wake up, you're like, oh, we should work on handstands, let's make a little fun video. Like what's the itinerary, and then like how do you actually approach like filming it?
Yeah, good question. So for my personal brand or my business brand?
Well, they're very, we'll do both.
I would say like my business, we're scheduled out a month in advance.
For sure.
For my personal, it's usually a week, but sometimes if I see a trending audio pop off, or I want to like stitch something or something like day of, I'll do that, but it's usually a week in advance for my own.
Like what kind of things are you coming up with? Like is it you kind of been like, okay, I haven't done a squat in a while, I should maybe like do a squat video? Or is it like, like you said, trending? Or is it here's 5 fun exercise? Like what, because that's a big issue I feel like with a lot of not just content creators, but just like trainers and gyms, etc. It's like, what do I post? Like, where do you get your ideas from? Like, what are you posting and all of that? Yeah.
The biggest thing I can say to anyone is, what are your clients asking you?
Okay.
What are the people in your DMs asking you? What are you talking to people at the gym about? What do you want to help people that you see at the gym struggling with?
Yeah.
That is your content. So for me, I have content pillars, and then I have specific ways to put out the content, and then I have repurposing of the content.
Okay.
So one piece of content, like 5 tips to have a better squat, could be a carousel, it could be a reel, I could talk to camera, and I could do text over camera. Then I can also post it as a thread. I can make it a podcast episode. Like there's so many things you can do with just that one
100%.
piece. Then you can also, you could break it up into those 5 tips being 1 tip per video. And it's a series.
Yeah.
Oh, we did feet. Now we're going to get into knees. What your knees to be doing, hips, What's your back doing? How do you hold the bar? How many different ways to hold the bar? Like, there's so much out there. And I think the analysis paralysis of people not knowing what to post is like, it's already there.
Yeah.
You already have the questions. It's just about like doing a framework and scripting it and then filming it.
I 100% agree. And I love how you put that. And I was trying not to talk so that we could just use that whole clip because I was like, that's perfect. But no, I'm very early what you just said. I'm very early on understanding that, like, we'll do a blog article and then I'll be like, oh, we could use that blog to make a Instagram post. And then that could literally be broken down into its own story and we could do like a poll about it. And so, but I do also like what you said about how, what are your clients asking you? Like, you can literally pull those questions and then create that. Exactly. So that's,
Yeah. I mean, I have a note in my phone of just like client questions, or
cool.
then I'll have one that's like client stories or transformations or testimonials, and they're all right there. And then I could like just pull things that I want to use for.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think for me too, personally, it's like actually getting started. Like with this podcast, like I own a freaking studio. I run a fitness brand. And then I'm like, I don't really know if I should do that podcast again.
Yeah.
And it's like, why wouldn't I? Like, these are, I love sitting down with people that are like in the fitness industry that know what they're talking about and built a business. And then I just like, don't like, what are we doing here? So,
you know, I'll be honest, and I'm sure you can kind of relate to this. When you do so much, you feel like you're spread a little thin. And so sometimes you have to like lean into just the social media or just the podcast or just the business for a little while, because there has to be seasons. Unless you have resources or people that work for you for each of those things too, which I'm not at that level yet.
Yeah. And I technically could, but I'm also like, I'm one of the worst people at hiring because I just like, I could just do that myself. Like,
But then it gets pushed back.
you know, then it doesn't, no, then it never gets done.
Or never.
Yeah. Well, I've gone to hire like we're our team's like 12 people, but like I've gone to hire like marketing managers or whatever. And then I'll be like, hey, what are we thinking for like, month one or whatever? And they'll lay out the plan and I'm like, okay, I would have thought of that. I could just do that. But then I don't. So then it's like, what, how do we do this?
Yeah.
So that's my biggest vent if I'm going to do that on the podcast right now. So
that's interesting. No, I totally get it. But that's just taking stuff off of your plate that you don't want to do.
100%.
And that's really all it is.
100%.
And then, I mean, you can go take this back to like content creation. If you hit a point where you're just like, God, I don't know what to post. I don't know what to do. It's like, you're looking at it in a totally incorrect way. Look at it in a way that like makes you feel good and also excites you about posting, because again, you already have all the information already. There's so many ways to do it.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to just talk to camera. You can have carousel slides. There's so many just ways to like put out content out there now.
100%. And then I wanted to go back a little bit. So you started as a trainer, started building up. Did you kind of like grow your business in Colorado a lot, or was it once you got to Texas it kind of blew up? Like, what was the trajectory for that?
Yeah, so I've been solely online for the past 4 years now, basically since COVID.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right at COVID, I was a co-owner of a studio in Denver, actually. Fitness studio. It was very like more on the high intensity interval training type style.
Cool.
Once COVID happened, I was like, okay, well, I was still a part of the gym, but I just really wanted to like build the online stuff more. But I had my web app in 2018. It's called the TL Method. It was a group program. Anyone could join in. You get a new workout every day.
Very cool.
And then, the gym was kind of on the side. But since 2020, it was like, how can I just work with as many people as I can online?
Yeah, exactly.
So I've had different courses, and the TL Method was obviously a long-term thing. And then I got more into personal training, which led me to then create my own app and build it all basically on my own side of things.
Which I am very, very excited to get. Let's get to it. I was going to do that because it's like the most recent thing, but we'll get to it. So normally I wouldn't have like we have competitor apps that I wouldn't have them on there, but when you're on a competitor, you're if anything like a good testament that like people can grow their business in oh my God, I can't talk today in the personal training industry. Because like we also do white label apps too for our coaches, but then like we do have coaches that will get so big that then, of course, like I mentioned to you before the podcast, like you want to own your own IP. So you want to build your own app. We don't recommend you're doing a great job, but you also know now the situation. So, which is what I tell a lot of our coaches like that get to that level. I'm like, you can do this. I mean, we also could build it for you too, but like, you can do this, but like, just know it's not just give them $100,000 and then go make $1 million. It's like you're now running a company. Like anything that we do for you is now on you. And then you have to deal with any of the consequences. And we're going to get into it in a second, but like, at what point did you get to that you were like, cool, now I want to build my own separately independent, like my own app?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I appreciate you saying that because I've worked with plenty of apps like yours. I don't know a ton about it.
Oh, no, you found out I had an app like 2 days ago.
I was like, what is this? And then I looked at your website. I was like, oh, this is the shit.
Oh,
like,
we'll
this is really cool.
It's my baby. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
I mean, it's awesome. Like, what you've built is really great. And again, I've worked with, I'm sure, some of your competitors, which I won't name, that, do a lot of the similar stuff. And I had the web app for a while, group programming kind of thing where people can log in, but everyone always asked me to get an app. Like, it's so easy to just get an app.
Yeah, you're like, you do it. Yeah.
And so now that I like really see behind the scenes, I'm like, oh my gosh, like the app is like not all it's put out to
there's someone behind the curtain like, please don't break.
honestly. Like when I really truly think back about it, like a web app experience is so similar.
It is, but for some reason
I know. Trust me, I know. So anyways, I had my web app. I worked with companies like yours where they would take a percentage. Then I worked with companies that it was like a flat fee. And then I was like, F this. I have built this business. I have this huge savings.
Yeah.
Let's do this. And so I really just was like, all right, because I want to build a brand like yours. And I've hired some coaches, and now we have a team of people that we're going to like build into like being this bigger brand. Yeah. But it is a beast. Like it's just you think one thing and it's like way over here.
Well, you technically go from being like a trainer who's like also an influencer that like, owned a gym part-time to like now you are technically like a tech CEO. It's like what? It's literally. I mean, you now run a tech company. Congrats! Yeah. Wish we had a little glass to cheers.
Wow, cheers!
You are.
I've never been called that before.
You are. If you run a technology company and you are the CEO of it, then I don't know what that makes you. I want to say tech CEO.
It's definitely not an influencer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We're not in Kansas anymore. Yeah. That's 2 Wizard of Oz references. I want to like some fanatic. I want to clarify. Tech CEO. There you go. Yeah. Add it to the resume.
Yeah. And so I just got to this point where I was just like, I really wanted my own brand, and I really wanted to build a brand that was like solely about empowering women to lift heavy shit and feel so badass in their body without counting calories or looking at the number on the scale or measuring themselves. It was all about taking up space in the gym and feeling super freaking strong. And to be like blunt with you, like there's not a lot of apps out there that do that. It's very focused on calories. Even the apps that I was in before, it was like you have to put in your weight. Mine, you don't have to. It's not required. There's macros and calories on everything. And it's like, no, I'm more into the intuitive mindful eating. Like you can be a badass, look awesome, and not have to count your calories too. Yeah. So there's, that's like the soul of why I created the brand. And now of course it's bigger and very technologically advanced. But yeah, that was like the whole main goal of the brand. And now it's just about growing it and making it better. And then of course now I have so many people asking for so many little things, or it's
just getting started too.
Oh my God, I'm just getting started. Yeah. And it's like, what feedback is the feedback that I should take with it, and where to go with it. So it's tough, man. It's tough being in the seat, but it's rewarding, but it's so stressful. Like the highs and lows are out of control.
Do you collect the feedback? Like, or sorry, I'll rephrase that. Do you like have a formal way of collecting it?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, like I'm not going to be like, I'm going to give you, this is a great idea. Let's do everything on this list.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think people just don't understand, and hopefully they'll take this episode and listen to it and be like, oh, wow, one button can take a week.
For sure. Yeah.
Or this one little button, just moving it slightly is another week. Like it's just so much more intense than I thought.
We just had a code. We launched we do white label apps all the time. And then we are willing to do white label apps. Like we can add you a little feature here and there. But if you want a big one, like we have to charge you for it.
Yeah.
But we had a coach who like wanted to add phone number onboarding to her, like just basically a phone number field on her mobile app for the onboarding for her clients. And I was like, cool, we'll add that.
Yeah.
But then she wanted it also on the website for when a client signs up, it pops up and shows the phone number. And I was like, we can do that too, but now you're affecting every other trainer on our platform. And we have to find a way to make that not only work for you, but then work for every other person. And that could take a week or two to make that like a hidden feature just for you.
Yeah.
And to them, it's just like a box, but it's like, you don't know what that box, how much pain my box. Sorry, that sounds weird.
Pain in my box.
Yeah, obviously it's a pain in my box. Yeah, so it's funny because like you, of course, were never on this side of the table where you were like behind the scenes, and now you're like, maybe you look back in your past, you're like, wow, did I ever complain about that feature? I didn't realize what. No, totally.
No. And I mean, the web app was just so different, and it was very basic. And this is like we're at an MVP level, right? Like there's a lot of improvements that we will.
MVP, you know what MVP means? I love that. Cool. Yeah, we'll put that on the screen for everyone. Well, you probably didn't know what MVP was until you got. Well, I guess we're in a tech city, but maybe.
Oh, I didn't. No, God, I've learned so much in the last.
Isn't it cool though?
It's great. I mean, I'm a tech CEO, so.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it right in your.
We'll start the podcast with that. Yeah. No, but honestly though, we're like, I remember as I started my company, like not this, it was an earlier version. It was like a personal trainer marketplace, but I started it like 10 years ago almost. And I was learning like, I had no mentor. I was in a small town that had no mentors. I was like learning what MVPs were and pitch decks and all this stuff. And like, it feels like a lifetime ago, but it's cool when I have my friends that know what an MVP is. And I'm like, oh yeah, we can have a conversation right now. We can talk about this. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for as long as you've been on this, maybe you should be my mentor.
Hey, I got you. Well, I was going to say, like, trust me. I've
been there.
I have a failed app company before this, which was the marketplace. Basically, it was cool, but we got slaughtered by competitors. So
got it.
And so one thing that's curious about yours is like we're B2B to C basically. So we're working with businesses that have consumers, but you're B2C.
Right.
I'm assuming you probably have like 5 coaches on the platform, something like that. Maybe a couple. Is it?
It's just 3 right now.
3 right now. Okay.
Yeah, it's small until we grow, and because we have personal training and group programming.
Gotcha. Okay.
The group programming is Broad's Club. That's like you can, it's a progressive program that you see over the next 4 weeks, basically.
Yeah.
And then the personal training is where you can message the coach.
Gotcha.
And you have a custom program, goals and habits, and all that.
Is your goal to compete with like a ladder type, or to be like a similar ladder type, or is it like, are you trying to keep it more like niche where it's like it's your brand and you have like maybe max 7 coaches, or do you want to make it where it's really big and you have like hundreds of coaches and like they're all like broad certified kind of thing?
Not ladder at all, really. It's different because there's not a ton of platforms out there that I've done research on that offer both opportunities to switch back and forth to with personal training and with group. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's a little bit, it's different because there's some apps that I really like and that I feel like fit kind of competitor wise what we're doing with the group side of things. Mm-hmm. But personal training, I would say like it would be like some of your competitors that we're leaning into. So personally though, like as a brand, I'd love to be close to like 8 to 10 coaches. I don't think it needs to be like hundreds, but like maybe down the line, it could be into this bigger thing.
And I was going to say too, like once you go into our world, it's like, I mean, again, we have enough competitors that like, feel free to do it. I don't really care at this point. Every competitor pops up every Tuesday. Like it's annoying, but once you get into our world, now you have to deal with all of the trainer requested features, which are 10x of what. So there's pros and cons, like being B2B, like it is easier because you're selling to business people. There's a smaller group, you can charge them more. B2C, you're dealing with a lot less features, but you have a way bigger audience to reach. So it's like there's so many different pros and cons. But B2B, you do open up this like, oh, I use this app and this one has a calendar and I want a calendar. Then this app has iPhone notifications. So it's just a nightmare. So what was the process? I know this has nothing. The whole podcast is like my fitness business. So it's about fitness business.
Yeah.
This is like tech business podcast, I guess.
I love it.
But what was the process like going from like building this app out? Like, did you just contact a random company and hopefully it worked, or like did you know someone that built it, and then like how long did that process take, I guess?
No, I did not know them beforehand.
Gotcha.
And I'm very thankful for they've been really great. It's just way longer and way more intense than I thought it would be in the beginning. Of course, anything else.
No. That's just apps. That's apps every time.
Seriously, yeah. And I was trying to go to the freelance route, and then I was going to do like
that never works. That's actually way worse.
And I was going to do this like a la carte kind of situation where I have this person and this person, but then I was going to have to do the project management, and I was like, what am I doing? So that's why I hired this whole agency to do it. And I talked to 3 different agencies. I've also talked to your competitors who were going to white label, you know, like, and do that whole thing. And I was just like, no, I'm set on this. Like, this is what the money that's sitting in the savings account is for.
Exactly.
So yeah, I would say like the conception of the brand and starting the development of the app was probably close to 6 months before we actually started.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. When I first started, like my MVP, I'm really bad at like saying, oh, we're going to launch in 2 weeks.
Oh
And my
God.
developers are like, shut the fuck up. Like, you're not launching it. So I was like, I remember my ex I dated for like 3 years when I lived in LA, and she'd always be like, you always say you're going to launch things and you never do on time. And I'm like, that sticks with me.
Oh my God, the launch date thing. It's changed so often, but I was so set on 11/11. Like it was in my mind and I said it over and over again. And it was like a week and a half later, which isn't the end of the world, obviously, but I was just like, this is the day. And no, it was not.
Did you guys have any like app store issues? Are you there yet?
Oh my God, yeah. We have app store issues all the time. And I mean, even the other day, it was January 1st, I think we sent out a release, and I was like, it was usually like a day or two that they're responding back and like distributing it, but it was 5 days.
Okay, here's a little note. See, I was your mentor. I mean, so basically, they shut down every year. Both app stores shut down from like the day before Christmas until after New Year's. So like you can't even.
So yeah, it was January 2nd.
Well, they might, let's say that's when they open back up, and then they might just be crazy backed up.
Yeah, that's what
you
it
can
was.
still submit shit, but like they're not responding. So that
5
December
days.
or January 1st or January 2nd, I don't know their exact timeline, but like they'll open back up, and then I'm sure they just have like because also you're also dealing with all these apps that want to launch by New Year's. So like everyone's like, oh, we got to have everyone at New Year's, especially fitness apps, and so it's. So I tell my team, I give my team like a 10-day off pretty much before or like around the holidays. So I'm like, we can't do anything anyways. Like we're not going to push anything out. So
Yeah.
Hey, you know that. Very cool. Yeah.
Well, now I know.
Yeah.
But everything else has been like around a day or two. And so that specific moment was like, it was a bug.
Oh, that's tough.
It was a shitty one.
Yeah.
And it was 5 days. And I was like, there's literally nothing I can do because it sits in the Apple's hands. And it's always iOS. Google Play is like fast with their reviews.
So here's what I've realized. And again, this has nothing to do with fitness anymore. And everybody was talking. Here's what I've realized, and what I want to tell the world so bad is this. It's my favorite little fact that I know. So iOS, as you've experienced, is annoying, and they're terrible, blah blah. But my thing with them is that even though they'll reject our app every time we submit it for some stupid made up thing, they tell us why they've rejected it, so then we can fix it. Google, you haven't experienced this yet. You'll hate it.
Yeah. Google
will always approve your app, and then one day, one random person will either A, just pull your app off the app store, or which we talk about this, like, or B, they will randomly just reject you for like, they'll say, oh, you don't have an inbox, and you'll be like, it's on our homepage, and then they won't get back to you for 2 weeks, and then you're just sitting there like, what are you? This isn't even what's wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong. But we had one of our white label apps. The whole account was just. Not only was the app removed, the whole account was basically deleted. And they said we like violated some law, but it was a brand new account. I was like, I was like, this account's never existed. Like, how would we violate what we've never? And so thankfully I know a guy here in Austin that works for Google, and I had to email him, and he had to get a hold of like a Google developer like lead, who then got a hold of the guy who then approved it. But I was like, if I didn't have that connection, I'd just be sitting here like, just like clueless. So anyways,
wow,
it's fun.
Yeah, it's super fun.
So now we know.
Taxi.
Yeah. But anyways, so what's kind of like they kind of give us a breakdown of like what you guys, you kind of mentioned a little bit about the app, but like what is the goal or mindset? Like when I get in the app, like what am I trying to accomplish? Like, I'm doing a workout, and then I'm messaging my coach. Like, what's the overall shtick, I guess?
Yeah. So it just depends on what you want, right? So if you're in the, it depends. If you're in to like get stronger, we have a progressive overload program, and it's all, you can choose your frequency 2 times, 3 times, 4 times a week. You can do it gym or home, tons of modifications. You can track your progress. All that is on the group side of things. If you want a personal training, you get access to a coach. You can chat with a coach, send videos, voice notes, all that kind of stuff.
Very cool.
And then you also get to track your habits and goals throughout the week as well, which people really enjoy.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goal tracking is a thing we're always working on too. It's just everyone wants it. And I've always had I do a lot of our designs, and I have a hard time like mentally figuring out how every goal should work in the app and everything. Like, excuse me, Fred, do you have a hand on your designs, or are you more like, here you go, and then you focus on the fitness side of things? Like, where are you at with that?
God, I'm in everything right now.
Okay.
So the designs for sure. Yeah. And I actually really enjoy the design process of it, but I'm not a designer.
Me neither.
So I actually just hired a coach that is a designer and knows a little bit more on the UX side of things.
Cool.
And
really buzzword. There we go.
yeah, UX UI. I did know that before, bro.
Okay, there we are.
Excuse me. And so it's nice for her to like go through and like see the flow in a way that it should be, because the design looks pretty, right?
Yeah.
But if it doesn't work the way you think it's going to work, you're like, oh, what is this?
For sure. And then are you like, where are you at in your design journey? Are you like a Canva girl right now? Or are you up at like Figma, or where are you?
Oh,
where are you
Figma.
at? You're a Figma girl? Okay, we love it.
No, but like I said, I don't do any of the designs myself. Like, it's somebody is creating them. I leave comments. We switch things around, move it around, but I'm not actually building it.
Gotcha. Well, my thing is like, so when I first started, I would make all the designs on like PowerPoint. This is like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm like dating myself on this. But then I've gotten pretty good at it, and I just love it. I'm not a artsy person at all, but I basically wireframe every new design that we have. Like, let's say a coach comes at us and says, hey, like, I would really love it if like when you submitted a document, like this X, Y, and Z happened, and I'll actually make all the screenshots and I'll design it, and then I'll give that to my designer. Because in that way, I always feel like if I just tell her like, oh, a coach wanted this, can you design it? It's like, she doesn't work out. I mean, sorry, that's for, she probably works out. I didn't mean it like that, but she's not necessarily like, in the gym all the time. She doesn't know what the trainer wants. She doesn't talk to the trainers every day. I'm the one talking. So I like being responsible for the design part and giving her, like making her make it look a lot better, basically.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I love that.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah.
Then I want to touch on it too. Like, how long have you been training it on it? And were you ever a personal trainer on it, or?
No, I have never, like I said, it's been 4 years since I've done anything in person.
I didn't realize that's what you meant. Gotcha.
Yeah. So no, like in-person actual training, unless I have clients like in the Austin area and we'll meet up like once a month or something like that, but not really.
Do you miss it, or are you pretty overwhelmed not overwhelmed, but like, are you pretty crammed with what you're doing?
Sure.
I kind of thought you might be, but I didn't want to like throw that at you. So okay, yeah.
Yeah, I miss it a little bit here and there, but I don't want to be. I've actually like talked to Larry a bunch of times about being on the schedule, and I would love to do it, but I just don't have the bandwidth to be on the schedule every week.
Yeah.
I do some events sometimes, and I run retreats twice a year.
Cool.
Big traveler myself. We're going to Nicaragua in
cool.
April.
Very cool.
And so that's like my time to connect with my community, and I've done one in Austin, a couple here in Austin as well. I do absolutely miss the in-person stuff because that feedback is great. But in a perfect world with clients, I would see them once a month and the rest would be on them.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I think that like so many people would get so much out of that too. But it's, that means I also have to be in one spot, and
For sure.
I'm not really great at that.
Well, and then when you train your clients in person right now, are you doing it through broads, or is that not really built for a one-on-one experience? I'm assuming it's not. It's like Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it would just be like a side extra thing, and sometimes we're like work out in my garage gym and then grab coffee after. It's
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. But no, I absolutely love that. So how we barely know each other first and foremost, to clarify. But you were always at the Fuck You Friday workouts and on it, which for a while I was just doing those and not even a member of the gym. I would just show up every Friday. Okay. And I lost like 20 pounds last year, pretty much from the Fuck You Friday.
No,
it was just like, I mean, it was from like, I mean, if I didn't have those, I would have still lost the weight. But like those just accelerated because I had to be like mentally and physically ready every Friday to go through those workouts. Like,
it's miserable.
They're insane.
It's miserable.
Yeah. So I would always like dab you up or say what's up at the workouts. And then I randomly followed you on Instagram like 8 months ago, something like that. I don't even remember. And then I saw that you launched your own app, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But like, I'm not going to DM you about it. I'll be like, oh, I have an app too. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, so, please. I would have been like, can we talk?
Listen to shit out. See shit out.
Honestly, like people they'll DM me and they'll be like, oh yeah, like I know about this. And I'm like, can we talk?
No, I probably should have.
Because honestly, like On It is such a great community. Like there's so many great people there, but I know that so many people do different things. Like I just met a guy today that's a UX guy. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, can we like have a conversation about this? Because it's so nice to have that. And I think, I've been online only for 4 years. I joined On It because I'm literally work by myself at home And I need to be around people again. Like, I'm an extrovert at heart. I love being around people, but it was just really hard to build that in Austin, to be honest. And I didn't really start building it until I went on it.
And that's what I've realized too, is that like a lot of our coaches that are online like also have something in person.
Yeah,
I think because you
I
do
get it.
that human interaction. That's why I actually love owning this studio. Like I get when I'm in town, but I get to come in and like say hi to someone. Like, oh, I get to like plug in a cord that's broken or whatever, or I get to like, you know, put the photos on the wall. And it's just, there's something about like doing things in person with people that you can't replace like everything online with. So
Yeah.
it's kind of beautiful, you know?
Yeah, it's so great. And honestly, like I have a podcast as well. It's called The Tower Talk.
Boom.
And a plug there.
Local tech CEO podcast.
Look sexy. I will never get over that. And we do a lot of Zoom interviews because people are not here, and it is such a different experience.
It's so different. It's so different.
Man, if I could fly them out and do a podcast live, it would just be so much better.
Yeah.
And so really like moving forward, like in this second quarter of this year, I'm like, I really just need to find more awesome people that I can interview.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just such a better experience.
It is. And it's not only that, it's in my opinion, it's a few things. It's one, when they're on Zoom, like they're gonna be like, fucking okay, got it. Like they're at there. Sometimes they'll like someone will walk in the room or like they have to go to the bathroom. It's just, there's nothing really tying them to being in front of the computer. And then when they're in person, also like you get that time before and after to kind of bullshit with them. Maybe you get a beer after or coffee after, and it's like some of my mentors or closest friends or people that I interviewed when I used to have my old podcast like years ago.
Yeah.
And we built that connection. And if they were on Zoom, it's like, what are we doing here? You know, what is this? You know, so.
And then even after the Zoom, it's like, okay, well, have a great day. Like it's awkward. I know they want to get back to their thing, and you know, it's so yeah, it's just such a great experience, and to be able to connect with people that way is
100%.
is great.
And I want to touch on retreats because I feel like that's another thing that like, I like when I do this podcast, again, rarely do it, but when I do this podcast, I like to find things that like our trainers or our physical therapists or whoever can like pull and then use themselves.
Yeah.
So I think retreats is a cool thing, because we do have coaches that do retreats. So why do you do retreats? How often do you do them? What are you doing while you're there and all that stuff?
Yeah. Retreats are one of my absolute favorite things to do. I'm a big traveler. Not as much as, well, I mean, actually.
I did it one time.
Probably been to way more places.
You probably.
You know, my husband and I see at least 2 new countries a year. That's like our goal. And
well, you're going to run out of countries.
No, there's plenty of places to see. Also, now we kind of
not today. At some point,
we do want to like. I've always was the person that was like, I'm never repeating anything. I'm never going back to the same place. And now I'm like, no, I would absolutely go back to Japan, 100%. South Africa. Like, there's so many places that I would. So travel is a huge aspect of my life. Obviously, movement is as well. But my whole thing with these retreats is that it's balanced. It's not a detox or a shaman or like a yogi thing. It's like, let's have so much fun and move our bodies. Let's do a salsa dancing class and
very cool. I like that.
Food tour, and let's go kayaking and hiking and do all that shit. And then also at the end of the day, do like a nice relaxing yoga.
That's cool.
And then have dinner together and shoot the shit or play a game or like enjoy the experience together.
I love that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's so fun.
Usually retreats I hear, I'm like, I don't know about that, but like salsa dancing into like kayaking is, and I love working out when you're not even realizing that you're doing it. It's a great example of like, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I've done, I usually do 1 or 2 a year. This past year in 24, I only did 1 because of the app, obviously. It was in Guatemala, and it was
so cool,
incredible. And this year's Nicaragua, and I'm planning one in Europe actually.
Oh, so fun.
In the fall.
Where are you guys going to Europe?
We're not sure yet. There's a couple spots, but potentially the Azores and Portugal.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Wait, so what are your goals with training? Like, obviously you have like this app that you're building out and everything like that. Like, are you wanting to make the retreats bigger? Do you want to eventually like do a conference? Like, what is your, because obviously you have someone to look up to like Sweat with Kayla, who just freaking like crazy. Insane. And then, so like, what is the ultimate goal with all that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many incredible women that have built these incredible businesses. Like, honestly, it's been so much fun to watch. Be a part of. Like, there's a couple of women that I really look up to that I know. And and I've been like, can you be my mentor? Can somebody be my mentor?
We're gonna open mentor trials coming
This
here.
is the application to be my mentor. I already.
I always call it mentor. Just shoot me a text and be like, "Hey, Corey, Apple won't get back to us."
No,
I'll be like, "Yeah,
please help. Send me an email or send an email to Google. I would love to do more speaking. I would love to. I've been on panels before.
very
I'd
cool,
love
like
to
South by kind of vibe."
Yeah,
That's
South
cool.
by would be incredible. Anything women focused or women owned or women empowered, women. And I'd love to be more a part of that. But I'd also love to be in more corporate wellness. So bring broads into corporate, places where it's like female owned companies and they have a certain amount of subscribers that they can have, like, and they're all like in the broads
Would it
app,
be a
which is
digital
really
thing, or
cool.
would it be a thing where like you bring a coach into the corporation through like a broads coach kind of thing? That's a whole different business model, of course. But
Yeah. It would be online. It would be digital,
Gotcha,
but
yeah.
I like how I see it, how I envision it is like I go in, speak about it, why it's important to strength train as women in their 40s and 50s and blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, oh, I want to join or I want to be a part of this program kind of thing.
Because corporate's tough, but like it's where the money's at. Like we have a deal right now that we've been working on for like forever, and basically like it's gonna like 3x all of our revenue.
Yeah.
It's just such a big deal, but like it's just taking a sweet time.
And really for me, it would be like more startup-y. Let's go into like some smaller places and then maybe we get a huge deal.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's the way to do it. I mean, what's cool with what you're doing is like, especially if you don't have the in-person element, is like you just have unlimited scalability. Like if corporations sign up, like maybe you hire one customer service person and then you run the whole account. Like,
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of opportunities. Like in general, I really want the coaches to like be a huge part of the personal training side of things.
Yeah.
I want to like step out of the day-to-day of like actually messaging clients all day.
Oh yeah.
And like actually be the tech CEO.
Yeah.
But right now I kind of have to do both just because we are at this MVP process and like there's a lot of moving pieces right now. But yeah, I want to be a little bit more removed from it and see the strategy and how we can continuously grow.
And it's important too. Like I have a project manager and everything like that, but like I still do I still do pretty much all of our emails. We have a chat bot too, but like I do pretty much, and it's like we get enough that I don't need, like we get enough that I'm busy with it, but we don't get enough that like if I hired someone full time, they would be working like 3 times an hour for like 2 minutes. So it's like not really worth me hiring someone, but I do enjoy it. Like, and people know it's me on the other end. I'll have my signature there, and I feel like they feel like closer to the brand kind of thing. Like, especially you growing, like if they can talk to you and they know it's the CEO of the company, they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, you got a little premium experience.
Until you get to
one
of my first hires was a client success manager.
Oh, cool.
And really just and not full time, like 10, 15 hours a week or something, but really just to run the inbox.
Gotcha.
Like that is her whole goal, is to run the inbox, manage our Facebook group, and just to make sure that there's like, I'm this extra face that I can help you whenever you need kind of thing.
How is the Facebook group going? Because like I had one years ago and then we didn't really use it. And then I started one up like a year ago and then I was like, I could care less about this shit. Like it's just not exciting to me anymore. So like how is yours going? Is it active? And then also with that being said, like, isn't the whole point of your app probably eventually to have like a community feature, a group chat feature, which would then contradict with the Facebook group? So it's like, where that was
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like I'd love to have a community feature in it. It's just that feature you think could be tomorrow, but it's probably months and months down the line,
or next year,
or like a whole different thing. But right now, I got to make sure that it works really well.
exactly.
It works great. You should join Broads. So yeah, ultimately I'd love to have the community aspect in there, but even so though, like in some apps that I've seen that has that community feature, it's not as, I still wish it was like a little bit more.
Okay.
It's hard to like see what different categories or what people are talking about, where it's easy, like you can search things on Facebook. So first question being, are people using it? Obviously it's a new app. There's people that are just joining in now. So definitely people are in there. It's not like huge by any means, but like there's definitely some engagement from the same, people that are on Facebook. Actually trying to decide if we want to bring some of these small conversations on Slack or Discord right now.
Gotcha.
And so we're just kind of testing where that is.
Yeah.
But again, ultimately, like you obviously want as much as you can in the app, but yes, I'm a tech business. We are a fitness app. But it was like, can we add this app, and this app in yours? Like, it'd be so cool to do. And I was like, yeah, but no.
That's not how it works.
Not the same.
No, I would need a beer to talk to you about what that whole thing. It's so complicated, and like I wish you could just take Facebook and Twitter and just go and like, but it's like it just doesn't work. So you're dealing with it.
Yeah, and so honestly, like I think the more we talk about it like this, the more people will kind of understand that it is like such a big deal, and so to have something like a Slack or a Discord or a Facebook group is just another opportunity to connect with people. Because really, when you really truly think about it, that's just extra. You sign up for a fitness program and to get stronger. And if you want more accountability, you got to pop in another app real quick. Like, I think most people are okay with that.
And they are. And too, like, and my advice that I need to take for myself is like figuring out what features are free out there and you can't replace.
Yeah.
And then leaving those out there and then building stuff that you literally can replace. I maybe I said that wrong, but like, for example, like we have coaches all the time ask us if we can add like a video chat feature, and like, yeah, we could, but it would, one, we'd have to charge you for the video usage.
Right.
Two, we have to build all this shit. And the three, Google Meet, FaceTime, Zoom, like
Microsoft.
They're all free.
Exactly.
Like, I'm like, you already use Zoom.
Yeah.
Keep using Zoom.
Yeah.
And then we're going to build stuff that like you can't replace with Zoom, basically.
For sure.
So like, you're kind of doing the same thing there.
Exactly.
But you're also walking the tightrope of like, but would it be worth it to add it, kind of thing?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's like down the line of like, is that something that is really necessary, or would 2, 3, 4x the products? Like, we don't know that just yet.
And what are you guys doing for like marketing? Are you doing, is it just basically your account? Like, is that because it's
so
kind of works?
I mean, like we have email marketing, we have the broad social media account, and then I would say like most of the people are coming through me right now, or me or my coaches. Yeah.
In the West, great. And in that sense, I wanted to ask you about the coaches. So like, what is their role? How are you going about hiring them? Like all that stuff.
Yeah. So I hired 2 before we launched. One of them actually works at On It as well.
Is she blonde?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, what's her name?
Katie Calloway.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Another gal is Taylor McGee. She lives in Philly.
Okay.
It was really important for me to have someone here in Austin. And the other gal, we went through the whole interview process, like for everyone. But yeah, it was probably like a 5-step interview process of like how they talk to me, how they answer questions, how they write programs. Because so much, especially with online, you have to be really careful with what you say and how you say it for people to understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
So having that empathy and having a little motivational interviewing kind of background is really helpful for coaches.
Yeah.
And they work with all of our personal training clients, but they also help me with program design, tech issues right now, design, social media posts. So they have their hands in a bunch of things, but at this point they are the personal training coaches for the new Coach and Champion members.
So, okay. So what does that entail though? Are Coach and Champion members, are those like the premium, like 1-to-1?
It is.
That cool? Okay.
So I have 3 tiers: Club, Coach, and Champion.
Cool.
Right now I'm only working with the Champion clients, and those are the people that,
you want the tech CA, they're your Champion level.
Yeah. They are the people that do get a Zoom call once a month as well. So it's a little bit more hands-on. It's more of like a VIP experience.
Yeah.
Coaches, the coach tier gets the access to the coach weekly check-ins, kind of messaging throughout the week and stuff like that.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And that's nice to have too. It's like, we're not the same, but like we're doing a similar thing where like our white label apps, we're now like offering a full handhold service where like we'll build you your whole website, we'll do all of your onboarding, we'll do like literally build you your logo. And it's like, we used to be like, oh, why do we do that? It's your business. But it's like, if you're willing to pay, like we'll just do it actually. And like, why wouldn't we? If we know how to do it and you have money and you want to pay for it, like let's do it.
And to be totally honest with you, and if trainers are listening to this, which I'm sure they are, we are really good at what we're good at.
Yeah, exactly.
And hiring extra help or getting support from other people, getting a mentor is really helpful
100%.
Because as a coach, like I love making people feel confident and passionate. I'm so passionate about, lifting something you never thought you could, or healing yourself from an injury, or feeling comfortable putting your suitcase up overhead. Like that's what I am as a coach. I am not a sales, marketing, tech, whatever. I am now, apparently. But as trainers, like it is so helpful. I still hired everyone for my branding. I hired an agency. I hired people to like help build this out. And it's so helpful to have a full service thing.
Yeah. No, and I think that's so true. I haven't thought about that in years, but I used to always say or think that like
You do.
yeah, you're only yeah. Well, I still do that unfortunately, but like I do it all myself sometimes. But like knowing that someone is better than me at this is important. Like I'm sometimes I'll do a social media post for us, but I'm like, I'm not the guy that should be doing our social media ever, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just not my thing, because I'm not that good at it. So
And so for me, social media is my thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do a lot of that, but I'm like, someone else has to do the project management side of things.
for sure,
That's
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Well, I know we're a little bit over time, but I just wanted to ask you, like, what do you have coming up next? Like, you just launched an app, so it's hard to be like this. You're,
That.
Who knows? Yeah, so literally just continuing what I'm dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, like this whole year, and my goal is to build the brand, build the app, do some more speaking and panels and stuff. Have a successful couple of retreats, and honestly, just meet more people that can bring. My word of the year is energetic, and it's to bring the energy and good vibes and good feels. Not super woo woo-y, but like I just want really good energy around me.
I like that. Yeah. I would say I'm not very woo-woo either, but also like I'm in the same boat. Like, and the older I get, the more I've been like removing friends from my life that are just kind of like not the most supportive or like nice. And I'm just kind of adding more like bubbly, fun people that just want to like support you, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's huge.
Well, pleasure having you on.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
100%. Anytime you need like any sort of app support,
Yeah.
think of me as your guy, because I have been through it. Actually, this is a quick vent. The marketplace app, it was called Perfect, PERFICT, like fit.
Of course, it was called something, but spelled something differently.
Exactly.
Because you have to,
Which is
trademark.
Which you're the first person to say that before I was able to say what I was gonna say, and it was the worst because like you would type it in on Android, and then it would autocorrect to perfect, and you'd have to respell it again, and like SEO is terrible, all this crap. So I finally changed it. But anyways, we launched. I had this big launch party in 2018, 2019, and we had a rooftop in Santa Monica. It was just like this super cool launch party, and Apple pulled my app that morning.
Oh.
For 3 months, they had approved us because we weren't giving them the 30% for the in-app purchases.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk. Are you doing that? Are you doing that?
Yeah, like
Okay. Yeah. Off the podcast. It's Apple listening. We were doing that, but they had kept approving us. We were using Braintree, which is like PayPal's app, to export the payments. And then the morning of, some random developer decided to check. It was like, hey, you're not using our payments, and just pulled our app, and there was no getting around it. So at the launch party, you could sign up for Android, but then Apple, you had to put your email on a piece of paper, and you couldn't get the app. And it was so embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. And it just like
you know what though, it is what it is. Like it's just you kind of have to just, you can talk about it now and you're like,
good story.
but during the moment you're just like, what is happening with my life right now? But like you probably learned so much from it, and there's not much you can do about it when they pull it like that.
For sure. And honestly, the app would have never done where we're at now. So like it was for the best.
Blessing.
It was for the best.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure to get to know you.
So
And
It's great.
I will see you probably on it pretty soon.
Yeah.
It's like 4 months. Thanks
Thank
for coming on.
you so
Thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming on.